One of the things that's going to be very important as we're getting into these chemical reactions is balancing the reactions. And what we mean by balancing is that we want these these chemical equations to actually accurately represent the reaction that has taken place. Otherwise, they're useless, right? And they're of no value. And so notice what happens here if we take hydrogen gas and oxygen gas and go and form water, okay, H2O. If you look at the number of atoms on the left-hand side and right-hand side, we have 2 hydrogens, 2 oxygens, and then on the right-hand side we have 2 hydrogens and 1 oxygen. So this is obviously not balanced. We are missing out on the oxygen on that single oxygen. In order to actually balance this, what we'll have to do is, remember again, if we change the subscripts, if we just put a 2 right here, we would no longer have H2O. We would then have H2O2, or peroxide, hydrogen peroxide, which is no good. So what we have to do is essentially put a 2 to say that we have 2 of these water molecules. Now, so I'm going to go ahead and write that 2 as a coefficient right there. But what happens to the hydrogens when we put a 2 there? Now we have, saying we've got 2 water molecules, so we now have 4 hydrogen atoms over here. Since we only had 2 hydrogen atoms on the left-hand side, we also need to put a 2 here. Now we have 4 hydrogen atoms here, 2 oxygen atoms, and then over here we have 4 hydrogen atoms, 2 times 2. And then 2 oxygen atoms, 2 times 1. And that is indeed what we see if we look at the lowest number of molecules that are needed to react. We need 2 hydrogen molecules to react with 1 oxygen molecule to make these 2 water molecules. And so that is indicated here by the space-filling models. And because this idea of only changing coefficients when you're balancing reactions, never changing the subscripts is so important, let's have one more slide for it. Woohoo! Here we go. So balancing equations means we're changing numbers. But the only thing we can change is the coefficients. Again, remember, if you have a water molecule and you change a subscript, say that oxygen from a 1 oxygen to a 2 oxygen, we have now changed the identity of the molecule we're making. We're now making hydrogen peroxide. What we want to do is change the coefficient and say now instead of just making 1 water molecule, we're going to make 2 water molecules. This is how you properly balance equations.